Hello, Schmoville. Well, it is now episode 49 into the Schmoes Know podcast here on the Schmoes Know podcast channel. We are going through phase 3 at Toad Hop. And we were still in the morning show phase of the podcast. We were a morning show. We were drinking our coffees and starting it off at Universal Studios. It was interesting. It is not the zoo that it is today on the night show. However, we had a lot of good guests, a lot of fun. This one was interesting because Mark was going on the road a lot, and I guess he had blown his voice out or something and was on some kind of medication, so he overslept, and he missed the beginning of it, and he was supposed to pick up Catherine. So the whole dynamic of the show changed because we had on, from YouTube, Peter Rallis from Movie Buzz, and he came on in, and then it was just Peter and I for the first half of the show. We just went back and forth on trailers that we had seen and news that we had heard and kind of how he got started and about his channel, and we did the back and forth. And then Mark, as the professional that he has decided, or the egomaniac that didn't want to be, home alone while we were stealing the mics, got in the car and showed on up on the second half an hour. He pops in, and we talked about all the stuff going on in the movie news for that week. It was really cool. It was a nice conversation with the two of us and Peter Rallis. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. And again, for every Toad Hop show, I will put the Toad Hop link in the description. So if you want to watch the actual video, you can. The audio is here, the video and audio is over there if you want. Link is in the description. Check it out and enjoy episode 49 of the Schmoes Know podcast.
Live from Universal Studios Hollywood in beautiful Los Angeles, California.
ToadHopNetwork.com.
Radio worth watching.
Radio worth watching.
All right, it is the Schmoes Know podcast. It is the best day of my life because it's my show. No, Mark Ellis is near death. Not really. Something happened to him. He basically, if you guys know out there, Mark is a stand-up comedian. Kind of. And he's been doing a lot of work. The guy does a lot of stuff, and he really he works, and, he's got a very loud voice. So just like, I guess, like Britney Spears, he blew his voice out. And, we have no Mark Ellis today, and Mark was supposed to pick up Catherine, and Catherine also has a migraine, and those two are just unhealthy bastards. And because of it, it is now the Harloff and Rallis show. And that's right. I am joined by the movie buzz man himself, Peter Rallis. What's up, Peter?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. It's nice to have you, man. Sorry my co-hosts are so unprofessional and decided not to show up today.
No, it's totally fine.
Peter is here because Peter and I guess you, me, and Mark, we met a few months ago. Peter's like one of the big wigs on YouTube. I mean, he's like, the movie guy. Like, he's got over 140,000 subscribers.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's a modest guy too. That's why he talks to that. It's a very kind of smooth. You see, I'm very abrasive. I come out here like yelling, and Peter's just like, take it easy, man.
We'll slow jam the movie news.
That's right. And we're going to be talking to Peter basically about how he got started on with YouTube and doing movie news and just as far as the film industry in general. And then we're also going to talk about some of the other stuff. I mean, because Peter talks about trailers and movie news, so we're going to kind of pick his brain on what stories he's been interested in, and we're going to talk to some of you guys about the stories you want us to talk about. Make sure that you tweet us right now at Schmoes Know, and you can also at Facebook or at Peter. I don't know if Peter's checking his Twitter right now. Peter's checking. You can also tweet Peter at P Rallis. Peter Rallis, excuse me.
Rallis P.
See, that's why he's here. He's the one that gets it right. Rallis P. Tweet him, and you can ask some questions, and we will do our best to answer those. And we're also be giving away a Ripped Apparel T-shirt today. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, have you seen those shirts?
I have not.
They're pretty great, man. They basically Mark and I are kind of like uber nerds, and because of the Schmoes name, we're allowed to dress like slobs on our show. So you have to wear like the suit, and you look all.
Yes, it's part of the thing.
It works, but it works. Like for us, we're I can dress like an animal like every day, and they're like, oh, why don't you dress up? It's because I'm a schmo.
Perfect.
But this place, they really have great shirts. Like the other one, yesterday's shirt was the Reservoir Dogs emblem of everybody walking, but it was the Avengers. And it's like it's that kind of stuff. And I didn't check today's design, but I mean they are phenomenal. If you guys have not checked out Ripped Apparel. I'm looking at it right now. It is the Imperial Academy Pilot Institute with Coruscant. It's a pretty great shirt. I'll probably get that during the break. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk to Peter. And Peter, so when did you? So, what's your background in film? What made you decide that you wanted to get on the crazy world of YouTube and movie news and all that type of stuff?
Well, growing up, I was always interested in making movies and short films. My dad, showed me classic films and kind of got me interested that way. And then when I got to high school, I joined the newspaper staff, and we were required to write 2 articles every month. So I said, well, one of those articles I can write about movie news. Since I'm passionate about that, that's an easy article I can always write. And then I was also broadcasting. I was the Friday morning news guy for our high school. And when I got out to New York City, I went to the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. Had a lot of extra free time. So I was on YouTube just because I was just watching the community and see how that was growing, and I noticed that people were starting shows on there. It wasn't just, hey, look at videos of my cat. It's, hey, I can produce something. So I decided to combine the movie news and my broadcasting and movie buzz. Kind of just came to be that way.
And that was like 2006, 2007?
The end of 2007.
Okay, cool. So how did you get, because your audience, you got a pretty big audience. How did it start? How did it catch on? Like when you first put it out there, and because when everyone who starts, you get out there and it's like, okay, great, I have like 600 views today. That's awesome. Like when did you start to realize that you were gaining an audience and people were listening?
Well, I noticed when I first started the show, there wasn't another movie news show at the time. So I'm like, wait a minute, no one's capitalized on this yet? So I kind of just jumped on that before, someone else could. And the first time I noticed a big jump in my viewership is I was there were some rumors about what the Cloverfield monster would look like.
Right.
And of course, they were all fake ones, but it was one of those stories that I reported. And I noticed that video got a lot of momentum because people were curious to see. And I kind of noticed, well, in that sense, I guess people really are looking for movie news. And if this is a way, for that outlet to exist, then I guess YouTube's great for that.
And that's when you saw like the subscriber base kind of start to flourish. Like, what were your initial numbers like as you out the gate?
It took me. It was because YouTube was like when I very first started. It took me about 8 months to get like 1,000 subscribers, and then it just kind of slowly, exponentially, kind of grew from there. Just because the bigger and bigger movies were coming out. Like I usually get a higher growth whenever I talk about trailers for like summer blockbusters. Right. Those are usually kind of stuff that get a lot of hits.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Mark and I too. We realized that we started doing like trailer reviews probably around like 2-3 years ago, and it's the trailer reviews do pretty well because I think the fans want to see little bits of it too, but I think that they also want to know like, oh yeah, I felt that way too, and I see that someone else kind of feels the same way I do, and it's fun to disagree. That's the one thing though too is that, and I'm sure that you've dealt with this as well, but a lot of times when you'll have your fans that will agree, that will disagree, and will do it in a way that it's like, okay, listen, I definitely think this movie, I think you're crazy, I think this movie looks good, but I respect your opinion, and they go, and then there's the other one, fuck you, asshole, suck cock,
Yeah.
And it's like those guys, it's like, I don't know how you deal with it, if you ignore it or two, but we try to kill it with kindness, because I don't understand.
That's happened. I mean, that word definitely works. I mean, it's funny, most of the times, when someone will send me like an angry message, you're an idiot for thinking this, and blah blah blah, and I'll respond back something just very pleasant, and the response is like most of the time like, oh, I didn't think you actually would respond, like, I'm sorry for being so mean, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's I think that's what it came to. Like, this actually happened when you had mentioned this. This is you had mentioned you were going to be on the show in your 2 videos ago. And I was looking through the comments, and I saw this one guy had posted. He's like, "The schmoes are bums." He's like, "Don't go on the schmoes show. They're bums." One of them is a stand-up comedian, and can't and because of that, can't look at movies subjectively. Like comedians can't watch. And then he said, and the other one watches doesn't like horror films and just basically disregards them and hates Jack Nicholson in The Shining. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? And what it came down to was the fact it's kind of an ongoing joke. Sometimes I'll miss certain horror films. I'm not a huge slasher horror film guy, but movies like The Shining, which is a classic, I love that movie, and even like Orphan, which I saw. I don't know how you feel. Orphan, I was surprised with, and I enjoyed it. If a movie to me, like if I'm entertained by it, I can enjoy it. But this guy just thought that I just totally disregard and shit all over horror films just because they're horror films, but. Like we said, I talked to him with back and forth, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, I understand. Blah blah blah. Sorry for being unprofessional." We went to our thing, but yeah. But you gotta have like you have some faithfuls too, so it's gotta be a lot of fun interacting with your fans.
Yeah, it's nice. With something like movie news, people get very passionate about their own views on something. It's not something where you post a comedy skit and people are like either like, no, that's funny or it's not funny. Right. Some people are like very passionate about their favorite films. If you say anything, anything wrong about what they think about it, all hell breaks loose.
It's true, and I even saw with you, like it's like people don't allow you to have opinions sometimes. You like Drag Me to Hell. People gave you shit for that, man.
I thought the movie was generally fun enough. And
Ellis loved it too.
And people always think that I guess people view me and my show as the all-knowing show, which I guess is nice, but if people like movies more than I liked them, that's totally fine.
Right.
I'm not trying to say this is the law on this movie in any way.
Yeah.
So I try to provide some kind of insight that maybe some other critics don't mention or touch base on. But it's funny just how passionate people are about it.
And that's exactly the point, is the fact that it just shows you how much people love movies and how people love the stories. And it's great. I mean, it's one of the reasons Mark and I really enjoy doing our shows, because it is fun to just kind of go back and forth. And some people always they'll say I can't believe you guys answer questions. It's so cool. I love talking about movies in general.
Absolutely.
So it's always cool to do that. So again, comment on Peter's videos and the Schmoes videos on YouTube, and we will definitely answer you guys back, because we love to talk movies.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about that on Twitter as well. Sometimes people will message me hey, I'm looking for such and such movie to watch tonight. Oh, check this out.
That's always fun to do too, and it's just nice. I mean, because you've seen so many damn movies, and there's so much stuff that it's sure, I'll let you know. And it's one of those things too that there are movies that I'm gonna like that you're gonna hate. Does that mean you're a douche? No. It just means we have different opinions on that particular movie.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do today, because Peter is the news expert, and he is the guy that is talking about all the trailers, we're going to talk about some stuff. We are going to talk about the Great Gatsby trailer, but we're going to talk about that after the break. Why? Because Harloff has not seen it yet. Yes, I refer to myself in the third person because I am a douche today. Now, but we are going to talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about the Skyfall trailer. Now, Mark and I did a trailer review for that. It hasn't come out yet. I know that you had posted your thoughts. I did not see that yet because I wanted to hear what you had to say about it.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think about the new Bond teaser trailer?
Great overall, great teaser trailer. Definitely something that makes you want to wait for the next big long trailer.
Right.
The way it starts out, I feel is a little awkward. They play a little word association game where the guy says England. He says country, and Bond says England. He says gun, and he responds with shot. But then the guy says murder, and his response is employment, which I thought was kind of an odd response because it makes him sound like a hitman.
He's an assassin,
almost.
right?
I know he kills people, but it seemed like kind of
that's
a weird...
not what Bond is. The classical Bond. I understand. Yeah. But I think that at this point, with the first movie that came out with Daniel Craig, and then Quantum of Solace, which I was not a huge fan of, but
me neither.
But this Bond has been compared as more like Bourne than anything else, and it comes to a point now you can either complain about it or you embrace it, because he's more gritty and gruff than the previous Bonds.
Yeah, they're definitely going. It's kind of like the Dark Knight of the franchise.
Right. Now, do you think we're going to see more of the martini sipping kind of smooth Bond that we've seen in the past as he gets a little older here?
Well, I heard that he has some kind of product placement for Heineken, so I guess he's be drinking the Heineken in the movie at some point.
So we're going to stick with the gritty kind of, not cause next thing he knows, he's getting up scratching his balls and waiting for whoever to come on. There's other stuff that's we're going to take a phone call here. I don't know where our producer Jeff went, because Mark is usually the phone call guy. So I just hit the button here. That's all I do. I can't hear. He's in a glass. This is what happens when Ellis isn't here. All right, we're going to take a call from George here. This one here. All right.
Underneath.
Oh, this one.
No, the white one.
That one. There we go. See, this is what happens. Georgie.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, George? How you doing, man? You are live with myself and Peter Rallis.
Yeah, I was just the other day I was rewatching To Kill a Mockingbird, which is a phenomenal film.
Absolutely.
And I was just thinking about how there's such a lack, not with all films, but such a lack of character study in Hollywood, I feel like, at this point. And they're coming out with films like Transformers and Battleship, which, bore the hell out of me.
Right.
And, I'm missing the Good Will Huntings and the Ordinary Peoples, and I wish there was stuff more like The King's Speech. And it's nice to have films like Skyfall to watch and, just a good action flick. But I feel like the real, heavy writing, and I write, so the good writing is kind of dwindled in Hollywood.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think, thanks a lot, George. That's a great point. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I think that George makes a good point. Summertime is definitely a hard time to really kind of go into that, but there is a lot of stuff that's missing. I think you get more of that stuff towards the once we hit like
Oscar season, like the fall,
late October towards like the end of December, early January. But even then, there's not some like stuff that just blows you out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, like when Gone with the Wind came out,
right.
Like that was a time when like one movie came out for a while, and movie theaters only had one screen, and then it got to the stage where there's multiplexes and there's all these different theaters. So there's so much emphasis on just creating so much more stuff to pump out like every Friday.
Right.
And Gone with the Wind is actually the highest grossing movie of all time with inflation. So it's just interesting now because there's so many like there are various different properties that need to have a bunch of sequels to, just because that's a guarantee for box office stuff. It seems like the concentration on like quality, storytelling is kind of thing like, well, let's just save that for Oscar season,
right?
And more worry about like the public kind of mass movies.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that one of the things too, like bringing up the point that George brought as far as To Kill a Mockingbird and stuff like that, is that back then it was still very like the theater was still very fresh in people's minds.
Yeah, movies were still pretty new too, where it's like, well, you have an idea, we'll just go for it.
Right, and theater was based primarily in story and character and stuff like that, so it translated onto the film, and it was really no difference. It was different, of course, but I mean, in terms of story and character. Now, in everything with technology and the way society's changed, there are ways to just blow things up and say, okay, stick popcorn in your face and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes I think the studios can get carried away.
This becomes the majority now, is that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and especially because when I spent my time working in the studio, it's like it's frustrating hearing sometimes like there's so many cooks in the kitchen and it's like, oh, we're going to do this and then we're going to do that, and they don't hear story, they don't hear characters. They go, well, people will like that if this. Just worry about what the characters are doing. And I always reference Inception. Big blockbuster, huge movie with character development, emotion behind it, and and not just to be a Nolanite or whatever, but it's like that's the type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's just great storytelling. He's the kind of guy who just takes you. I mean, his movies are things you just never seen before.
Yeah,
on any kind of on all the different scale stuff that he's done.
Absolutely. Well, so what other stories are out there right now that you really kind of when you were reading them over went, oh, that's cool, or oh, that sucks, like something that kind of just really stuck in your brain that made you think, either this is going to be really awesome or I don't believe this is happening.
Oh, for like upcoming movie news stuff?
Anything, any news or any trailers or anything that you really saw, like any directors or anything you heard attached to any projects?
Well, the craziest thing I heard recently was Red Bull, the energy drink company, is going to be producing a movie of a modern day look at Oliver Twist.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be called Twist, with parkour integrated into the movie.
Wait a minute, and but it's going to be direct to DVD or something?
I would think so. Yeah. I don't know who would see any Red Bull coming
this summer.
Red Bull presents. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable! All right, we're gonna take another call here. This is from our buddy Tyler. He's always got some interesting points on films. We'll see what he wants to talk about today. Tyler, what up, dude?
Hey, good. I'm actually doing homework for one of my classes right now that's due in a few hours.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah, good luck with that.
This is this is what we're talking about, those dedicated movie fans. Tyler is one.
Multitasking right here.
What do you got for us today, Tyler?
Well, I was going to give my input on the Great Gatsby trailer first,
okay.
And then when I found out that you hadn't watched it yet, though, I had to think of something else, so maybe Skyfall would work then. Oh,
yeah, I think everybody's it's impossible to say that movie's not going to do well, especially the fact that it was sitting on the shelf. Not the movie itself, but the fact that the whole MGM tie-up and all that stuff was happening. Yeah. Who is not going to be excited to see Bond again, It's
nice, too, that this is like a fresh story because, Quantum of Solace was one of those rare movies that was actually a sequel to the previous one, which usually these films are like start over again.
Right.
So it's nice to, hopefully that will happen in this one as well.
And I think that's smart because it makes it connects the audience to everything that they've just gone through.
Yeah, and that's how you get away with making 44 movies.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. How about you, Tyler? Are you excited about Skyfall?
Yeah, I am. I haven't really seen that many Bond movies. I've only seen Quantum of Solace, Die Another Day. I've seen bits and pieces of Casino Royale so far, but I'm really looking forward to it, though. Not just because Daniel Craig is a great Bond. Even though I wasn't that big of a fan of Quantum of Solace really at all, I thought Craig was great in it.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting him to be great in Skyfall. But what I'm really looking forward to the most is a lot of people that are behind it as well, like Javier Bardem is the villain because that guy can act his ass off whenever he plays a villain.
That's a great point. Tyler, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. That's absolutely, I think because Javier Bardem is in it, it's gonna, that guy is gonna come guns blazing.
Yeah, especially after No Country for Old Men, just how creepy he can be.
He's so creepy, and the guy, I remember Ellis and I, when we used to review on Current TV, we had to see what the hell was the movie called? Shit, I can't even remember it. He was in this movie, it was a period piece, and I can't remember the name of it, but I thought I was going to want to shoot myself because I'm like, oh my God, but he was so engaging throughout the entire time. And I'm like, you just cannot keep your eyes off the guy. Did you ever see Beautiful?
No, but I always saw the fancy trailers for it.
Right, yeah, right. See, that's the thing. You know every movie, even if you haven't seen them. So, now we're going to take a Twitter question. Now this is from That One Proto. He asks, as far as Men in Black 3 is coming out this weekend. Do we think it has any shot at dethroning the Avengers?
This is very interesting because Men in Black 3 has gotten a lot of mixed kind of reactions so far from the trailers.
Yeah.
I heard the budget for this movie is $350 million.
Insanity.
Which is $100 million more than the bomb that John Carter was at $250.
Right.
It's hard to tell what the opening would be. I think, well, just because the trend of the Avengers box office, like the opening was $200 million, the following weekend was $100 million, then it was $55 million.
Right.
So it seems to almost be halving itself. So I think that Men in Black could pass it. I just don't know what the excitement level is because it's almost been 10 years since the last movie.
I agree with you. I do think it will beat it this weekend, but for all the points that you said, just because the Avengers at this point, it's tracking off and the people have seen it 3 or 4 times, like, I don't need to see it a 6th time.
Yeah.
5th time. But I think that Avengers will make close to like maybe 40, 30, 40, something like that.
Yeah.
And then Men in Black 3 is going to do like maybe 50 or 60, but that's not great.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Like over under on 60, I would say.
And I wouldn't argue with you on it. The thing is, look, Mark and I saw it, and our review is up now actually, and we I had fun with the movie. Is it? And I said in the review, is it great? No, it's not. And I was like, whatever. I had fun watching. Once they get to the time travel part and he goes back in time, that's when I had fun. But Mark hated it. I mean, Mark, usually loves everything. So I mean, you take that with a grain of salt. But that being said, I do think people are going to want to go see it because there hasn't been anything really to see since the Avengers have come out a couple weeks ago.
That's true.
So and it's Will Smith, and I do think $300 million, it's going to be a disappointment. I mean, money-wise, because then you have all these other things coming out in the following weeks.
The interesting thing, too, about the Men in Black 3 trailers is that they never really show you who the villain is. Like, the trailers is just, hey, we're hanging out with old Tommy Lee Jones, which is Josh Brolin.
Right.
But you don't really know, well, who are these aliens that are coming, and why do they have to go anywhere? Because I think Jermaine is Clem is the bad guy, and they completely cut him out of it.
Yeah, I think that they're marketing him more on the fact that on Brolin's impression of Tommy Lee Jones, which is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
It's dead on. But Clement is pretty good. He's interesting, and our buddy Jeremy Johns, who I was texting with yesterday, had said that he is the ghost. The way he looks in the movies, he's the ghost of Randy Macho Man Savage because he looks just like him. It was pretty funny. All right, and we're going to do one more Twitter topic here, and that is going to be from Samuel Gavin at Samuel Gavin. Have you guys seen the 4-minute preview of The Amazing Spider-Man? And if so, would love to hear what you think about it.
I saw it. Actually, the 4-minute preview is actually set up where like the first minute and a half is like a clip from the film,
right?
And the last 2.5 minutes is like the same trailer with like a few extra little scenes. Yeah. This movie,
No, let's talk about it because I'm super excited about it. So if we got one we can disagree about, let's go for it.
I know the fact they have to start all the way over again is just so silly to me.
Really? See, I love it.
I also noticed too that they're actually reverting back to the artificial web shooters.
Yeah.
To go back, which I think doesn't work for movies just because it adds so much extra time. Like he has to build it, then he has to run out of it, and then he has to go get more of it. Just from a cinematic standpoint, it's just faster if he's already shooting out of his wrist.
But that takes away from Spider-Man, though, man.
I feel like that makes more sense though too. Like you just get more buff, like you get the Batman effect.
But that's the thing with Spider-Man, though, is the fact that in the comics, the Raimi version, he was essentially an X-Men. He was a mutant because he was able to shoot them. And that's fine. It worked for whatever too. But this to me is the from what I've seen in the trailers, I mean, the thing could be horrible. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a really good movie. But I'm looking forward to the Spider-Man that I knew, the really smart kid that had to build his own stuff and that he could run out of it in the middle of going through Manhattan and he lands in a car. I mean, I just think that they are changing it up. It's going to be a different origin story.
Yeah, because you have to talk about the parents.
Yeah, and I think there was some in the comics. There's some elements of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't think they're going to be able to combine that because of Sony and the way that Sony owns the project. But I'm excited for that movie, man. It's the July movie. I think it's going to be the X-Men First Class of this season.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see the direction it's going to go. Interesting too because the Lizard is going to be like the first CG character that Spider-Man has to fight. I mean, I know that Sandman at some point was a huge CG guy, and Venom was a guy in a costume at some point too.
Right.
But Lizard's purely a CG kind of villain in this one.
Yeah, and it's funny though too. It just shows you how much technology. Even the fact that it was all the Sam Raimi last one was 2007. It was still 5 years ago. 5 years of technology is monumental, and it's so I'm that doesn't really scare me as much as it would have maybe back in like 2002 or something. So but I'm definitely optimistic for that movie, and I understand you and Catherine are both on the pessimistic side, and I understand it. I get it.
Well, I think it's more frustrating because I think people have seen so much. I mean, it wasn't as though someone made one Spider-Man movie and it was terrible. Like they made 3 of them not that long ago.
Right.
So I mean, I think I'm more excited for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, just so we don't have to go through all that first hour of setup again.
But we may have a better setup though than last time, and better acting.
That's true. At least
Martin
we have a better
Sheen
foundation.
Up in this bitch.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and when we come back, we're going to talk about The Great Gatsby. Tweet in your questions, Facebook us, do all that stuff, and we will talk to you in a second. All right, a little Beetlejuice there, and our pal at Miss Movies thanks us for the Beetlejuice music. I thank our producer, Jeff, for our Beetlejuice music. Thank you so much, Jeff. All right, we are here. It is the Schmoes Know podcast. It is a lovely, peaceful day because Mark Ellis is nowhere to be found. But we are joined by Peter Rallis of Movie Buzz, and we are talking movie news. We're talking trailers. We're talking a whole bunch of stuff. And I was able to watch the Great Gatsby trailer over the break, and we're going to talk about that. And our buddy Craig Platt, who we've had on the podcast before, who works at Trailer Park, actually cut this trailer. His company did, and I just saw it, and it looks pretty fantastic. I am excited for that movie. I think that I've never seen or read. I've never anything to do with the Gatsby before, so this is all new to me. So
well, yeah, because I Spark Noted it in high school, so this is new to me too.
Okay, all right. Now I think the fact that you have DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, who I they're like pals. I think this is like their first movie together, and they look like they're on opposite sides of the field, so that's probably kind of fun. It's like Ellis and I every day. And I think that Baz Luhrmann, I don't know when the last time him and DiCaprio, I know they did Romeo and Juliet. I'm not sure if that's the last time they worked together.
Probably.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. How do you feel about Carey Mulligan as an actress?
She's good. I mean, I've only seen her on a few things. Like some of her recent stuff, I feel were more like female movies. I just didn't catch.
Oh, really?
Off the bat. I missed My Week with Marilyn.
Okay. Did you see Drive?
I did see Drive.
Okay.
That was good. But I missed like Blue Valentine.
Blue Valentine was Michelle Williams.
That's the other.
Yeah, I get them confused all the time. But no, Carey Mulligan, I never was like a huge fan of, and I actually in Drive, I thought all she did was stare.
A lot of people do that in the
that's what they should have called it, stare. But no, I actually when I saw her in Shame.
Missed that too, yeah.
Man, she is really great in that movie, and it made me shut up about her because I was like, okay, she's got chops. And so now pairing her up against DiCaprio and the way that it looks, I think the trailer was just cut together really well. I mean, I think
she looks good for that time period. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that everything, and DiCaprio has really kind of grown into that role. I feel that they would have tried to push him in that type of role 10 years ago when he was still kind of boyish and screaming like a girl. But it's ever since The Departed. I remember watching that movie, going into it, going, okay, he's just going to scream and yell. But I was like, okay, I bought him as a tough guy. And ever since then, I'm on DiCaprio's one of my go-to. I want to watch him.
Oh, well, the movie for me was Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, yeah.
Going into that, he was the Titanic guy and the beach guy.
Whoa!
Hey,
wait a minute. Wow, a surprise guest. Holy, he couldn't. Wow, he could not handle being by himself. He had to talk. I wish we had a camera on you at home.
Oh my goodness!
What the hell happened to you, pal?
Is this on?
You're on, buddy.
Okay, good.
All right.
Jesus.
So, would you like to say hello to our
Peter,
guest?
How are you, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good to see you again, sir. Thank you for showing up.
Absolutely.
Being such a professional.
What did you fly here on your rocket? How'd you get here so
my
fast?
God. I'm on these pain. I can barely talk. I blew my voice out yesterday, and I had to go to the hospital and everything. And they gave me painkillers, and I've never been on painkillers before. You ever enjoyed these things before?
I've not had the pleasure.
I took a couple last night before I went to sleep.
He walked here.
Let me tell you something. Sam Adams got nothing on these painkillers, man. They are incredible. I slept right through the alarm this morning.
Calls me up right before we go live, and he's like, "Oh, these painkillers. I'm just waking up now."
Dude, it's incredible. So I'm not even going to be able to talk that much. I'm only mainly
You're here to play.
support.
You here to play the game?
We're
playing the game.
Play the game?
Yeah,
Sweet.
I can play too, by the way, because I don't know the clips. Yeah,
Ellis versus Harlow.
nice to have
How
you.
you been
pal.
handling the first half, buddy?
It's been good. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot of just a lot of movie news, a lot of kind of trailer talking. Have you seen the Great Gatsby trailer yet?
I watched it.
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
watched it last night.
You know, Platt's company cut that.
Craig Platt, who we've had from Trailer Park. So that's it looks really, really cool to me.
Yeah.
Looks very like the backgrounds and everything looks very, very 1920s, and like it really throws you in that world from the trailer. So
the weird thing about the film, though, which it says at the end of the trailer, is that it's going to be in 3D.
No, I just missed
Great
that again.
Gatsby. Well, you
why?
know,
Why?
Because when you watch the trailer, there's all these computerized like renderings of 1920s America, and so it looks like it looks like there's a lot of CGI in the Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
I mean, there ain't lightsabers and Wookiees, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
I guess they're trying to make it like a more like the trailer too. Like I guess they cut like a hip hop song in there to make it more fun and jazzed up for all the kids who read it in high school.
Right.
Which is something also too that the film Gangster Squad did in their trailer too with the Jay-Z song.
Right.
Which I mean, it makes the trailer much cooler, but doesn't really fit the time.
See, that's a great point.
What's this hip hop these kids are listening to? We can't have that.
The Gangster Squad thing bothered me more than this because
this is more subtle.
Yes, the Gangster Squad, the Jay-Z song, just throws you out of the time. The second that thing comes on at the end, you're like, wait, what am I? That was so cool. What am I watching now? And now this one I like because it's a different version of the U2 song. So and it's slower. So I didn't mind it, and I actually think that it kind of served the purpose for the end part of it. I'd like to watch it again, but the Jay-Z thing was so jarring in Gangster Squad. But I agree. Sometimes I just don't understand why they just don't use or
just score.
You know what movie? You know what trailer is absolutely at fault for doing something like that was the Wrath of the Titans, that silly ass
the Marilyn
Manson. Awful.
You know what's really disappointing is that The Great Gatsby comes out around Christmas, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a kid and you got to read that's on your summer reading list, you're like, shit, they can't release this thing in August?
Well, because
it's an English teacher's worst nightmare.
Well, they're also looking for some Oscars there. So that's
I guess they're not helping out the kids of America. I'll tell you that much.
All right, so here's what you guys do: tweet in some questions. Now, the next question that we cover that you guys tweet in, we are going to give away a Ripped Apparel T-shirt. So make sure you tweet in a bunch of questions at SchmoesKnow and tweet that in there. And the topic that we get from the next one, we'll get a Ripped Apparel T-shirt. All right, we're going to take one call here, and we are talking to who we got on line one over here. I don't know. It doesn't. We're
taking a risk.
We're taking a risk. All right. All right, you are live on the SchmoesKnow Show. Who we got?
Hey guys, it's Lucas.
Hey, Lucas. What's up, buddy? How are you, man?
Still at reset.
What do you got? So what do you got today?
Well, I was wondering what's Hollywood's obsession with Jay-Z and the trailers lately.
Oh, okay.
Killed both trailers for me.
Well, I think that goes back to kind of George's point before. George called in and he was talking about how, there's not a lot of story these days. It's more about the effects and everything, too. And I think that, it kind of plays in hand in the fact that the studios want what's hip.
Yeah.
Studio wants what's going to get the kids in there and it's like they forget sometimes. That's why I think that
it's harmless, but from an integrity standpoint, doing it.
Yeah, and that's why I think that U2 song actually, because it fits the mood and the words and the stuff that it's working, it integrates into the story. Lucas, thanks a lot, dude. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
All right.
I don't think you lose a lot of artistic credibility when you're talking about a trailer using something that's out of time. It's a little.
I mean, you have to advertise the film.
Yeah. I mean, you want them to give an honest, depiction of what the film is going to be. But if you have a song in there that they don't use, what pisses me off is when they have a song that they use in the trailer to sell it, then it's not in the actual movie. Like "Take Me Home Tonight." I know it's a small thing, but the Eddie Money song is all over the trailer, and it's not in the movie.
Right.
You name the movie actor.
Right. Okay, so we have our winner here for the T-shirt.
Someone's getting a shirt.
That's right, and it would be Ben Rafferty, because he asked, "How good do you think?" I think it's Django Unchained is going to be, and I pronounced it wrong.
No, that's right. Yeah, the D is silent.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been walking around like an idiot saying, "Hey, y'all heard about this Django Unchained?" Oh my God!
But it's going to be. It's going to be, the new Tarantino film with. I like the fact that Christoph Waltz this time is not playing the bad guy.
I think he has some kind of.
He's darker.
Yeah.
He's darker, but he's teaming up with Jamie Foxx. He's not like I
think Leo DiCaprio is the
bad guy, which is cool.
DiCaprio is the bad guy
in a Tarantino film. I'm on board.
And I guess they showed 7 minutes of it at Cannes Film Festival and got like great reviews just off the 7 minutes.
Right.
They said like it's funny. It's like a very Tarantino kind of film.
Awesome.
Yeah. If you can tell all that from 7 minutes, I can't wait for like the finished thing.
I'm with you. I mean. Tarantino movies, I knew nothing about Inglourious Basterds when I saw it, and we were blown away by it when we saw that movie in the theater. So it's a Tarantino, man. I'm on board.
And he's been wanting to make these spaghetti western things since forever. And now the only thing I worry about is he going to be able to edit it down under 4 hours, or is it going to be 2 movies? How long is this movie going to be? How long am I in the theater for?
The interesting thing about it, the editing of this film, is that all his previous films were edited by one editor, and she passed away last year.
Wow.
So it'd be interesting to see how this film gets cut together, since she's not the one doing it this time.
Yeah. I'm sure she had a protege or something, hopefully.
Yeah.
But, absolutely looking forward to that movie. I think it's going to be...
Talk about editors like they're Jedi Knights here. Like, she had a Padawan learner.
You'd be surprised, man. One thing, I'm going to take one more call, but before we do that, there's another thing that made me think that as far as... This is what I wanted to get your opinion on this, Peter, with, The Hobbit.
Oh,
we got it's the 48 frames per second thing. Apparently, it's Mark, do you know about this?
Do you think I know about this?
No, you don't. Basically, I think it would be, is it the first 10 minutes or something, or is it the whole movie? I hope it's
for what they showed?
They shot it. They shoot the whole thing. They shoot the whole thing 48 frames.
Oh yeah, they shot the whole movie at 48 frames.
All right, so
that seems like, to the layperson, like a lot of frames you're cramming into 1 second at a time.
Well, the standard film frame rate is 24 frames per second.
Okay,
and so Peter Jackson decided to shoot at double the frame rate because he said. Because he's also shooting in 3D, and he said in 3D you get motion blur during action.
Right.
He said shooting at 48 frames per second fixes that problem. But when people saw the test footage at CinemaCon, they said it looked like too realistic. Where you could actually see the sets in the film, the illusion of it, like it was too high definition.
Really,
which I feel like is the same kind of thing that happened to most of us when we saw HD TVs for the first time.
So you think
it's like, oh whoa, this is way too jarring.
So you think people will get used to it if they watch it enough?
I think, and Peter Jackson made the point too. He said that at first it may be a little too jarring, but he said that you'll be able to sink right into it as the movie plays, which I can totally understand seeing happening. But if it's so crisp but you can see an outline of a set, I think that may be a problem.
Yeah, because when you see actual footage from movie sets, you're like, I can't believe I actually thought that was real. And then, then the way they film it in a movie, it looks very realistic. And that's a great point with HD, is once you see your favorite TV personalities in HD, you're like, holy God, what is that thing?
Cameron Diaz had that problem towards the last one. All right, we're going to take one more call. Actually, here's the number, guys, 888-520-4374. Call in, because after this call, maybe 1 or 2 more calls, but after that we're getting into the game here, because the good news is I get to play the game now, because Jeff, our producer, is a madman, and he was able to pull all the damn clips up, and I can actually play. I don't know anything, and we can see how I do. I might stink as far as...
I hope you do.
I know, hope I do too.
All
right,
I'm not rooting for you.
We're going to take a call from Jose real quick. Jose, what's up, man?
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? What do you got? What do you want to talk about?
Actually, I want to go back to the topic of James Bond real quick. Sorry to retrace the steps, but I've seen a lot of the comments on the James Bond trailer, Skyfall. A lot of people say, "Oh, this reminds me of Mission Impossible. This reminds me of The Bourne Identity." And one point I want to make is that every actor who played every Bond had a different personality. Every Bond reflects the current era in movies and pop culture and global events, politics, etc. So I don't get the hate toward Daniel Craig as Bond, because if you think about it, Daniel Craig and Christian Bale, you know, their characters, you know, are more realistic, they're more wittier, they're more grittier than their previous takes. So Fleming, who wrote the novels, you know, Bond, if he were alive today, I think he would see movies like Casino Royale as a more accurate portrayal of Bond.
Well, Jose is dropping science. That was a fantastic point, Jose. Thank you, man.
If he was reading off a teleprompter, I would be surprised.
Jose
that
crushed
was
it.
Phenomenal,
He had
Jose.
it ready to go.
Jose, absolutely. Great point by Jose. Now, he's right.
If I ever get in trouble, like I get convicted,
I'm calling Jose.
Yeah, he's my representative.
He's my lawyer, yeah.
Absolutely. Jose just dropped a bomb on Schmoes.
You can't handle the truth.
That's right. No, I mean, I agree with him. I think that, you know, it's one of those things, again, that well, that's not the Bond I know. Going off the 48 frames per second thing, if you're not used to it, you automatically go back to what you are used to. So if you see him as like this someone that you just saw Bourne, you're like, oh, he reminds me of Bourne. That's not the Sean Connery I know.
People love to, you know, just hate on whatever.
Yeah.
It's usually mostly like a YouTube comments. I mean, most of the time those comments are just to be annoying.
A douche. yeah.
There's certain things you need with Bond. If you need the British accent, okay, you can't have some American guy walking around in overalls. That's not James Bond. But if look, he does get a little more rough and tumble. You know, it's a little more shaky cam action kind of stuff. He still cleans up fine. He still wears a tux.
Right.
Yeah, and even like Bond's like the first guy. I mean, if anything, the Bourne and Mission Impossible like came after this.
Yeah, I think Bond's allowed to take some cues from guys that have taken cues from him for the last 50 years.
Yeah, I agree. So again, Jose, thank you for calling. You made a fantastic
setting
point.
the bar for all other calls.
Yes, absolutely. But it's looking like we cannot take any more calls. I apologize for that, but because we are going into the game.
Oh yeah.
Ken Peter Rallis, a newcomer. Mark Ellis, high on
Harloff,
painkillers.
also a newcomer, third person for the second time in the show. All right, so this is the way the game works, kids. A clip is played. You yell out your name, you guess. The first one to three wins it, and here we go.
This is like the movie Radio, Kristian. You're on the sidelines forever.
Thank you.
Now you're in the game.
Just grab this. Oh, sorry about that. Whammy.
Kristian.
Peter.
Who got it?
Correct.
Anchorman.
Oh, my God. And Harloff.
Okay.
Right there.
All right.
Off to a rousing start.
I love it. All right.
Let's see. Shit, no volts, only 2 amps. It may die before the main chute's open.
Mark, I'm going to go with Aliens.
Kristian. Alien. Damn it. Oh, I know
I'm
it.
trying to figure who the actor is.
I know who it is. Yeah, you can hear more.
He is legal. It is legal.
You're going to not hear more? You can hear more if you want.
Roger, let's tie all the batteries on a main A and main B.
Like they're still showering a bit up there. Do you want to tell them?
Is there anything we could do about it?
Not now, Clay.
And they don't need to know, do they?
Can I go again?
I know what it is.
Yeah, so do I.
All right, I'm out.
Parachute to
I know it's not. No, it's not Tombstone. It's Apollo 13.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, I knew it was
It
Bill
was some kind of
Paxton's
space
voice.
thing. I'm like, what space movie is
That was
this?
Ed Harris. It was Ed Harris, and I just was trying to. Had it been Alien, it just would have been a funny bit, and I just tried to steal it from Mark Price's
My
Right
head is
style. It
spinning.
didn't work.
Does anybody else see the pink elephants in the room right now, or is that just me?
Oh, that's your excuse for eating. All right, here you were talking. You were running in here like you were freaking Jordan after he retired the first time.
With Jordan during the sick game.
That's right. All right, here we go.
Looks like I missed something.
Yeah, you did. We're all officially kicked out of school.
Mark. Animal House. You. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Those assholes must have stolen the wrong exam.
That's right. All right.
What a movie.
It's a schmo battle right here. Rallis yet to get him.
Gotta catch up.
It's okay. I mean, after a game, we gotta relax. We gotta come down. Unwind.
Mark. You know what? It sounded like the Teen Wolf song in the background, so I'm going to go Teen Wolf, but I don't think it is. All right. Jump in the gun.
My doctor told me, he said, hey, Brewster.
Kristian. Brewster's Million.
Oh, wow.
My gosh.
I haven't even seen that.
How dare you put a Richard Pryor movie in here? Sounds like Kristian's house party.
What? It's rude. Man, when are we ever going to get a chance to see this kind of shit live without paying for it?
Sorry, it's just new to him.
Oh, and you're an old hand at this?
No, I should apologize.
Kristian.
I don't...
Mallrats.
Mark, Chasing Amy.
Balls!
What a steal.
Balls!
What a steal. Harloff had it right there.
I had it.
Oh, man.
The ball goes through Buckner's legs.
Son of a bitch.
See? I'm buckling my seatbelt.
See, Amy? We're all buckling our seatbelts.
You can do it. Go on. Yeah, that's it. Good girl. Here's an egg.
Fuck is this?
Amy, we do not throw things.
Mark. And Ellis gets another victory.
No, you gotta win by 2.
Congo.
You gotta win by 2.
Wow.
Nice try. You just play this for the first time?
I'm a
Ever been in a
champion at this.
cockpit before?
No, sir.
Kristian.
That was me.
Who got it? Who got it?
That was me.
Who got it?
Seen a grown man naked?
That was so
You
close,
call it. You gotta call it. You call
We
it.
could play a different clip.
You're the ref.
We both know the movie. I really think I got it first.
That was I think you guys said it at the same time.
Airplane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you guys both a point.
All right, so we're still. You're gonna win by 2.
Oh my gosh. Stretching this out.
Watch Rallis comes back and gets like 4 in a row.
Alright. Something a little bit more challenging.
You think I'm a replicant, don't you?
Kristian. Blade Runner.
Oh.
By more challenging, you mean movies that you're already aware of, Mark has never seen? Is that what's more challenging?
See that one?
No.
So we're all tied up here, right?
Yeah.
College?
Private tutors.
Major?
Spells and hexes.
Mark. Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah.
Liberal arts. What about your husband? Is he currently employed?
He's going through a bad patch at the moment. But it's not his fault.
Of course not.
Can I go again?
What is he? A loafer? A hopeless layabout? A shiftless dreamer?
Kristian. Stepford Wives.
Good. Okay.
What is it? Yeah.
I have no idea.
Adam's Family.
Oh wow! Look at this.
God, it's been a while since I've seen all these movies.
All right, let's do.
One more.
This is it. This will be it. This will be the one. Unless Peter gets it.
Okay.
Unless Peter gets it, then we go. This is the winner here.
All my life I had to fight.
Peter.
To fight.
The Help.
Kristian.
Daddy, I had to fight my uncle.
Color Purple.
Yay!
See that you win by
Harloff
one.
comes in.
That you win by one, and I had already won.
Do you
want
to do it then? Do you want to go one more? Let's do one more. Go ahead.
I think it should carry over to the next.
If you get this one, it carries on to the next show.
Fair enough.
All right.
Okay, I'm trying to find a fair one.
A fair one.
But you cannot make friends with the rock stars.
Kristian. Almost famous up in this bitch.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
I have been defeated, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not very good at that.
Rallis was
not
kind
bad.
of unknown coming into this. I thought Rallis might
Rallis
shut us
was
out.
because he's humble. You know, the thing is, too, next time he comes in, he's the type of guy, next time he comes in, he's going to hear like a little bit of the score and he's going to get it.
Yeah.
So he's going to do research last time. But we do have we have about 5 more minutes left, so we can kind of get into, we got one more call coming in. You want to take that, Mark?
Yeah, hit the button.
All right,
let's talk to people.
Hey, who we got? Hello.
Hey, it's Josh.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not much, man. Big fan of the show.
Thank you.
I had a question. Moonrise Kingdom's coming out next weekend, the new Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of his first 3 films, not so much of Darjeeling Limited, and so on Life Aquatic. What's your guys' thoughts? You big fans of Ball Rocket and Royal Tenenbaums? Are you looking forward to Moonrise Kingdom?
Thank you very much. Actually, yeah, you know what? I am very much looking forward to that movie, dude. For me, I loved Royal Tenenbaums, and I'm on his page too because I Life Aquatic and Darjeeling Limited could do without. But this one looks kind of cool. Did you see the trailer for it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it definitely looks like a Wes Anderson film,
yeah.
Which is good.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it just looks like this looks like a good time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the actors involved seem like they're having a good time with it.
My job consists.
He's getting ready for next week.
We get it. Kristian won the game, right? That's what keep rubbing it in my face.
But you know, and then I saw a lot of it. And people loved the Fantastic Mr. Fox also.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I am really looking forward to that movie because you know what I like what he does, and he always adds new people into his movies too, but he also has his go-tos, like Bill Murray's in it again.
Bill Murray's in it. I'll see it.
Yeah, I just wish Gene Hackman would come back because that performance.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about a guy who got screwed for the Oscars. Gene Hackman. If you guys have never seen the Royal Tenenbaums,
Like Mark Ellis.
You still haven't seen that movie?
No, I'll do the research. I'll see it before Moonrise Kingdom comes out. That's my pledge to you guys.
Well, I saw it for the first time like 3 months ago. So
isn't it great? I mean, he's just so funny, and that's like, and that was the reference that we give for when we saw Dark Shadows. Did you see the movie?
Yeah.
And how Johnny Depp, it's more about him, and it wasn't about the families around him like it was in Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
It was about, I mean, you got this
you got a real sense of like everyone involved.
Yeah, you got this big, powerful character in for Royal, and then but he didn't take over the whole movie when he was in his scenes, sure, but it was more about like the families and Gwyneth Paltrow and Luke Wilson and how that all happened. I thought that's why Wes Craven's such a fantastic kind of storyteller.
Oh yeah.
So, what's that? Did I say Wes Craven? Wes Anderson. Thank you, Jeff. See, the one guy who
you've never seen Wishmaster, folks. Let me tell you something. That Wes Craven.
Good. I'm glad you called that out because someone else would have called that out pretty quick. So yeah, I mean that's the movie news. We could literally talk about movie news for all day, especially with Peter Rallis here.
Especially stuff that we're excited about that's coming out later this summer. And then all of a sudden you have these trailers for movies that are in November and December. It's like I feel like a spoiled kid at Christmas. Like I just want to keep opening presents. But there are a lot of good movies that we have to look forward to this summer.
For sure. There's a lot of good stuff going on.
Hopefully something will eventually knock Avengers off. I love that movie to death, but let's see another good movie.
Yeah,
Men in Black 3 really disappointed me. I was pretty bummed out after watching it. Yeah. But Snow White and the Huntsman, hopefully that'll get things back on track.
What are you looking?
Prometheus after that.
Is that what you're looking forward to?
Absolutely the most.
I was going to ask you. All right, so make sure you guys check out Peter Rallis on YouTube.com/RallisP or /MovieBuzz. Also follow him at RallisP. You can that's RALLISP, and then you can follow us at Schmoes Know, YouTube.com/Schmoes Know. And we want to be interactive with you guys, so make sure you comment on all our videos. We will comment back. We'll talk to you guys. And we are looking forward to next week's guest, actress Bai Ling.
I will be here for the full time for that one.
It's going to be pretty
sorry,
nice.
Peter. Yeah. Next time you're here, I will be here for most of the podcast.
Okay,
all right. For Mark Ellis, Peter Rallis, Kristian Harloff, thank you, Schmoville. Peace out.